Hey guys, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training. Just coming out to work dogs this morning and open the shed and that kind of thing. But I thought I'd sit down and chatter at the screen a bit about a couple subjects, and I'll wait for that in a second. Get my double shot energy drink and wake up a little bit here. I just got done cleaning kennels, come out here and train some dogs. Got Buddy in the truck and joke around, and burn off some energy and just let them have some good exercise. So I usually have, like I've told you before, I usually have maybe 1 or 2 days a week where I call it free training. It's not really even that. I can't even think of the name of it right now, but it's basically a workout, right? But you wrap it around obedience. Kind of what I did with that park routine the other day, but you didn't see me do the workout part of it, where I get him really going over the tables, and then I run from one place to another, and I might do stair stepping back up and down. I might throw the ball into that in that park one that we did. That open green area was a perfect place to take a chuck it, and that's what I do. I grab that chuck it next time and go out there and put that into one of my things and get some wind sprints with that ball chasing, right? Because we're wanting to build a little bit of muscle and get some stamina and all that good stuff. And I do a lot of that type of work when I'm doing my free days, where I do my training, but it's not really, it's loose, you know. It's not really structured and tight as far as everything goes. You throw in a little bit of obedience to reaffirm some of your stuff and keep the dog in the right mode. But all right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about this not video, excuse me. It was a podcast that Ivan put on with Training Without Conflict. So he started a little podcast, and he pulled Larry Crohn's into it. And they were going over Larry's book and try to explain to people how he works with the ECollar. And I was frustrated because from my standpoint and understanding what's going on, I'm not just a beginner. I've been doing this for a long time. It's all about how you verbalize, how you set up your accent points, and how you teach. You know what I'm saying? And so it was very confusing, very convoluted. And I'm going to be honest with you. And there's no offense meant to Ivan. He's one of the world's top competitors. He's doing something right, or he wouldn't be there, right? But I always have a hard time following his teaching and things when I've seen him online and when I've seen some of this stuff. I'm always really have a hard time because I don't think his mind thinks in a linear way, because he's trying to break up the difference in the language, right? And so he doesn't explain things like I would want to have it explained to me. And so I'm always confused, you know. And I mean, there's a certain hero factor, meaning Ivan is Ivan, and I mean, you got to give the man credit. He's where he's at, and he's a world competitor for a reason, right? He knows what he's doing, and he has. But again, his ability to teach in that regards is real rough around the edges, and you can. I personally would not go pay for one of his seminars, and the reason would be I would really feel like, am I going to come away really understanding? And that's the person's ability to hit the key accent points and to communicate in such a way that you're the people that you're teaching learn something, right? And I was confused like son of a gun, to the point where I was frustrated and I just turned it off, and I went back to it a little bit later, and I'm trying to catch it. And I'm still playing. He's got 2 hours and some odd minutes of this yakking with him and Larry, and I really was confused with all of it. So what I wanted to do in that regards is to let you guys know that follow me, that if you go up to the top of my page, the main page where you come into my area, right, and you see the logo and the banner across the top, if you look at the top of that when you go to somebody's page on YouTube, you'll see that there's a bunch of tabs that you can go after certain information that YouTube's kind of putting key accents, right? And one of those is a community tab. And that community tab allows the owner of the site, the page, to be able to put in what they want to, and maybe put in certain key videos and things like that their followers can follow along with, right? So I've done that. I've done one for a whole series on Rocky on the stem collar, right? And it's a little bit rambling and yakking, and I've got it cut up into number 1, 2, and 3, because I'm trying to show you guys exactly how I work the collar. I even give you a link to where I got the information as a young man with the Dobbs. The Dobbs were one of the first people working with e-collars way back in the day, and Tritronics, and they were going out and doing a lot of different seminars, and they had it down to a science as far as being able to explain it to the public. A lot of write-ups, a lot of knowledge that's there. That link is still online. It's kind of a dead page. They don't maintain it that well and everything, but the information is still there. The write-ups are still there. So you can take advantage of that. And I usually right away tell my customers when I'm trying to educate them and stuff, I point them in that direction, is look for the information on Schützen, because that's really where it all starts, is how to layer in that collar and do things in the right way. So I won't go over it now. It's in that whole series. It's on there. Go to my community tab, look for that with Rocky and the ECollar, right? And then you'll learn a little bit different philosophy, and basically not really different philosophy, and more so than how I do it, how I work with the stem collar, and then how I layer it in, and it's called a three-way turnoff, and I really believe in that. I've been using it for years. It works, and it gives the dog a good understanding of and the power to the dog, and teaches him how to turn off this collar. Okay, and this is my method. This is what I do. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, like I said, just go to my community tab down through there, and find that series that I did with Rocky on the e-collar when he was still with me. And for those of you who don't know Rocky is pretty Instagram famous. The kids at bottom and everything are all about Instagram. They live on Instagram. They do a lot of videos and stuff, and they call him the Reckless Dutch. Because they've got him doing some high flying stuff, and all that stuff was my foundation. I gave it to him. Believe me, that dog's not doing much more than I already taught him. So it's all good. You know, they're getting out there and having a good time with the dog. They're going toward PSA. They're doing dock diving with him. At least the dog's got a worthwhile life, and they're giving him a life, and that's cool. You know, and it's neat that they have a bond with that dog, and that dog's part of their whole thing. So I'm not going to begrudge them that at all. You know, I mean, it's neat. I see a dog go out there that I've sold that actually has an active lifestyle towards what he's trained and built to do, which is working dog, right? So it's very cool. All right, so that's that subject. I want to move on to some other things. We're going to talk about Buddy a little bit. You saw a lot of the videos that I posted this week on Buddy, and I went ahead and uncovered it and let you guys know. First off, there are no perfect unicorns. You're always working on something with a dog, right? And Buddy, as a young puppy, when these guys, Dutch Shepherds, they're real sensitive. They're so intelligent that they can learn from the negative as much as they can the positive. Meaning, if you do the wrong thing, it's going to stick in their little bean, and you're going to have a hard time getting them through it, right? Because they learn from that doing things wrong or hitting at the wrong imprint time, and boom, and it'll stick with them, and you got to work them through it. Well, I suspect, I can't say I can definitely know it, but I'm pretty sure me and the girlfriend not getting along and everything, she breeds German Shepherds, and the temperament's totally different. So when Buddy was a young puppy, there's this little holding pen that's right there, right? And I would keep him in that holding pen a lot, and this is where we meet our clients. This is where we come out and start palavering with our clients and start breaking into what we're going to do with them this time. So she would be out here, and the dog would be in that holding pen, and she would go, he's nervy. He's got a bad temperament, and she would jump at the dog. Okay, and then when the dog's a puppy like that, this gets in his cranium. So he's got this boo factor. He gets startled real easy, and it's set in from a young age. And now you got to work around it. And then I went out one time when he was just starting to build some confidence and really get into the work. I went out to that police seminar group that I go to, and they've got a young kid that's starting to learn how to decoy and everything. And I'm not going to blame him for it. I'm not going to say he did it maliciously, but he made a major mistake, and he screwed up Buddy pretty bad in the head, you know, in that little bean in his head. They got little Quonset huts. They look like an outhouse, and there's a door on it, and the decoy gets the dog stimulated a little bit from a distance, and they'll send the dog up to that Quonset up to do the bite, and the guy disappears and he's inside. He keeps a little stimulation with noise and everything. What they're trying to do is get the dog to bark, and if the dog barks, that behavior gets him his bite. They pop the door open, they give the dog a bite. Well, this kid, I think he stated that he thought that it was Joker. I mean, Joker's pretty strong. And he knows it was me, so he thought it was Joker, and he didn't realize that it was Buddy. And he went ahead and he kicked that door with some really aggressive boom, you know, all of a sudden, all at once, and it startled Buddy, and with him being already weak in that area, he kind of flighted around it, and it really took him some work. So this got stuck in his being real bad. So this dog that's why I call it the boo factor. You get startled, and he shies away from that startle. And so now I've got to work the dog through it. Not all dogs could be fixed. Buddy, on the other hand, I've already been working on it the last probably 3 weeks to a month and a half, somewhere in there. I started with Bambino and doing the work with Bambino, and he was going through a garage door into a cluttered area, and I had Bambino bringing up the stimulation. So a lot of screaming, yelling, a lot of activity. So we were using the dog's drive, his natural drive as a Dutch Shepherd, to get him through that worried state of mind. Okay, so we got to take the dog to another place. And we did that enough that we got a good baseboard on it where the dog was starting to come out of that pocket and coming outside. And Bambino did exactly the right thing. He worked him just right where the dog now could end up winning in this instance, and we just kept working on it. Day here, day there, and Tuesday, then a Thursday, and then that's what I do. I'm a gypsy trainer, so I go all over the place and I find the decoys that I need to work on problems or to work the dog towards what I need to work them for. And the key is knowing who's who and what talents and what skills they have. Okay, so then I just went out to John Luke's last week, and I did that filming with John Luke, and you saw a little bit of the tarp, right? And all I do when I do this, guys, is I go out and I have a relationship with my decoy. He knows me, I know him, and I know that if I communicate what's going on with the dog, that his skill level is going to be able to say ding, and then you just let the man work. You let him do his job. So he laid out the tarp. He did that. He knew exactly what we were working on. I was trying to get him through this, going through obstacles, going through barriers, going through things that are going to stress the dog out a little bit, because this dog's got a worried state of mind in this regard. So he did great. He set the dog up and it made it really nice and easy mode, and it was sleeve involved, because the dog usually starts working with a sleeve first off if you're not doing ring sport. I do a lot of sleeve work. So that gave the dog something he was used to. That's his toy, right? That sleeve is what he wants, right? So he worked his way through it, and it was perfect, because now we had more clarity. The dog's head was in a different place from Bambino. Bambino had used stimulation and had the dog way up and drive and really stimulating the dog. And now with John Luke's work, John Luke's got him at a different level and just making it a little bit more methodical, and the dog's got more clarity in his mind when he's doing this work. So it's a perfect place to have him, right? And then I noticed that Buddy was getting real shallow in the bite and not committing himself to it as much, and his drive level was a little lower, and it was not getting worse, but it wasn't getting better. So in other words, what I'm saying is that if you read the dog properly and you understand what you're doing, you can read that and you can say the dog's starting to get affected by this. I need to back off a little bit, because it's working, sure, but you don't want to keep it up. Now you're going to lose your grip. You're going to lose your bite. You're going to cause all kinds of other things. So what do? You do exactly what I'm talking about. When everything's always in a constant state of balance, right? So when you start having a little thing, you go back to something else the dog feels comfortable with, that the dog can win. So now, yesterday, if you saw those videos I posted yesterday on Buddy, okay? I posted those videos for a reason, so you can kind of start tracking this dog, and then I let you guys see the full thing that I'm working on. That's training. We do this all the time. There is no perfect dogs, guys. There's always something you need to work on. And most of the time when I'm working on, I'm not working on behaviors, teaching the dog to go just to those blinds and doing that. That's behavior, right? I am always thinking in my mind when I'm working my dogs, strikes, grips, confidence. Where's the dog's head at in the work? His true inner core. Is he strong enough to really take a man down? That's what I'm constantly trying to build. That dog's inner confidence and his inner ability to be a badass when I get done with him and he matures into the real dog that he's going to be. Like Joker. Joker, I thought, was going to be a real sporty dog, meaning everything's a little drivey and this and that kind of thing. But as I kept working him, I started to see the real side of him. We go into muzzle work, and there's a reason we do that. And now that dog's whole demeanor at 4 or 5 years old, he's about 4.5, starts to change. And that dog's maturity with everything else coming together, now Joker is more of a real dog. And I can get him to go real easy. Just underarm sleeve work and scenarios that start to teach the dog that it's not going to just be on the field when I put a harness on you and I cue you into the work. We're going to be over here at the bank, and all of a sudden somebody comes out of nowhere with just regular clothes and attacks me. Boom, the dog starts to figure out that this stuff could happen in other areas. Take away the equipment, get him away from equipment a little bit, and you're off and running with a dog like Joker. Right? So every dog is different. Every dog's got problems. There's no perfect unicorn. There just isn't. So I'm real happy with what's going on with Buddy, because I can sense that we've got him in a perfect place, and now I know exactly what I want to do with some other decoys. I'm going to take him back to the fun side. We just did it with Norman yesterday. Those sleeves are what he started with. Grip work as a puppy is what he started with. That's a toy to him. Boom, go up and hit that toy, take it off the guy's arm, let him slip it, let him go around in that nice little circle, and let him offload some of that stress involved with that, and prance. I'm happy, I'm proud. Take him to that proud, so that's my booty, and that's his, right? And we'll do some more of that. And I've got another decoy friend of mine, Ted Bellmeyer, that I'm going to get him to work with me this next week. And I'll get him to do the same thing. But there's the key. Your ability to communicate with your decoy, and your decoy understanding that you're going to kind of call the tune, and then you let the man do his job. because their skill and their ability, I mean, Norman's been doing this 20, 30 years. Ted's been doing it for a lot of years. He was just up at the WDC USCA championship and took Falco up there. He had some negative things that happened. It didn't all go as planned, but that's sport. That's the way it works. You're not always going to have a perfect day. You want to, but it doesn't happen that way, you know, and that's part of the sport. You got to take it on the chin and go out and work hard for the next event that you go out to. And pretty soon you're going to start getting those awards. You're going to be up on the podium, but it takes work, right? So I'm real happy with where Buddy's at. I see his maturity coming together, and I know that I'm going to start putting him on tables here pretty quick after we get through this project of where he's at, and then I'll start putting him on some tables and bring up his intensity level, right? And I won't go into what the tables are all about, but I could. That's a whole nother episode, but we will get into that at some point. So, all right, so that's my yak session for this morning. I want to give you guys some more videos of actual work and the dogs doing their thing so you guys can kind of follow along with what I'm doing with certain dogs. So remember that little thing that I was telling you about how I do find it, and I put the food down and I create a food loop where the dog goes after the food in front of him. I go, find it, find it, find it. And I create that loop right here on these tables, right? And create that behavior loop so that I can use it when I go out on those wacky boards out there. And the dog's scared, a little bit insecure because it's a little bit unstable, and he gets into that worried state of mind. And then right away, I've talked about it before, I'll bring food out and I'll just start doing the find it. Now the dog right away is going after another behavior loop that he's already used to, and it's the food, right? And he sticks his head down and goes after that food. And then you find it again, and he goes another foot or two and goes up and gets the next piece. It takes the dog out of the worried state of mind. And it puts him in another place, which allows him to start doing it without even realizing it, and pretty soon confidence comes. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing we're doing with Buddy. We're basically working through a worried state of mind that's causing him to hesitate and to not be so forward with his work. And Malinois and Dutchies too, for that matter. A lot of this stuff is never even dealt with because the dog's drive takes them right through it. They're so prey orientated that you can always go to that side and work the dog right through, and they never even realize what they're doing, and you can build the dog. That's why Malinois are so cool to work, because they have that part of them. So it is what it is. But we'll yak about this a little. I'm going to start maybe doing on some live shows. And I've asked that before, and I've said something about doing live shows, and I didn't get much response. I don't know why I don't have much numbers. I think I put out a lot of good information. I'm not sure. But I don't have as many good numbers as I used to, and I'm not sure why. And I'm not really too worried about it. I mean, if it worst comes to worst, I'll just stop doing videos and take myself off the friggin' YouTube and say hell with it. You know, okay? Because if you guys don't appreciate the value of what I put out, then why should I even do this? Why should I take my time to yak at the screen, right? So I'm kind of evaluating that now. And I could bring in more bells and whistles by paying somebody to do the work to get the bells and whistles and really get some graphics going and some intros and outros with a sound and all that crap. And then I'll get an audience, because for whatever reason, human nature being what it is, everybody wants this music. I mean, I watch one of the trainers that I watch all the time. He's in law enforcement work. He always puts music behind his videos, and I right away feel a lot better. I have to admit, it's kind of probably hard to listen to this little dry and yak, 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 you know, so it is what it is. All right, I'll let you guys go. Have a good day. Mark Ferrasci with ProTech Dog Training, signing off. I was trying to get that sticker, but it's white on white. I'll take you and talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.